What a time to be alive, man.
What a time to be alive.
Holy shit. It's a great time of year for sports. There's a lot of fucked up shit going on in the States down south. Presidential debate tonight. It's going to be wild. I'm looking forward to tuning in. Let's stick to sports for the purpose of this podcast, though, because there's a lot to be said down south right now. COVID shit is happening in the NFL. Fuck. Who knows what's going to happen? Just announced today, I think, right?
Just today, yeah. So it was from the Titans and the Vikings. I think the
Titans had 5 people test positive, I think.
Yep.
I don't know. Like, I've heard so many of these tests like come back fake positive or like false positive. So I don't know how many times they're testing people.
False positive is so scary, eh?
Yeah. I had a client actually who someone he knew tested positive. So like, and they had seen each other in the last few days. So then they had to get tested, and they were, even though they were negative, Fraser Health made him quarantine for 14 days.
Jesus, eh?
I guess, I don't know.
So, I don't know if the Vikings have anyone that tested positive, but it's just that they played, right? They came in contact, and that's the thing.
Oh.
That's what they're worried
really?
about. Yeah. I don't think, and so no positive tests for the Vikings yet.
How long does it take to test positive?
They could be in your system for 5 days, right? Before you
test positive?
Yeah.
Man, they got to come up with a better test than that.
100%. And something that doesn't go into your brain.
Come up with in 9 months?
Yeah, I know. Tickling your brain.
Man.
And I heard a couple other teams had some scares, but I don't know how serious it is. But like, this is to be expected, right? Like, eventually
every sport has had
happen. It. Yep. Baseball has had his problems with it earlier this year.
NBA canceled a few games, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's just, football's such a different sport that you can't replay a game.
And the problem is with football, you can't have a bubble. It's just too big. There's too many players. There's too many teams.
But like with basketball or with baseball, like with baseball, you can just play a doubleheader later in the season.
Yeah.
Football, you can't play 2 games in a week.
People would die.
Yeah.
No, that's impossible.
Think about how many injuries already happen on a weekly basis. I don't think a team would survive doubling that.
Could you imagine just having 1 day off in between? No.
There's no way it would happen. Like, I think the only solution would just be like everyone only plays 15 games instead.
Yeah. Just give everyone an extra bye.
Yeah.
That's the only thing.
Or they play on their bye week. Maybe they don't get a bye. But how do you line up the 2 bye weeks? You have to move the schedule around.
Whoever has to figure out the schedule, I feel sorry for. That's going to be tough.
Yeah. We should point out why Lucas didn't show up today.
Yes.
So, as you guys know, we have a points competition every week. Denny said 38-24 last week. Karl said 41-35.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
And Lucas said
31-24.
So Denny and Karl were both minus 7 points, and Lucas was like minus
38,
27.
I think. Yeah.
So Lucas owes us beer for tonight, and conveniently did not show up.
What a guy.
So he has his beer next week. And we're going to have to get him to mail in his pick for next week, because he's probably going to have to owe us beer twice.
Do one more thing. Myers, still perfect.
Yeah, Lucas. He probably, you know what? I wonder if he's just not going to show up anymore until
he
Myers
misses
a field goal. And then he's going to come and just trash him. What is he? 15 for 15, I think.
15 for 15.
That's not a bad stat, Lucas. That's not bad at all. He has only kicked 1 field goal.
No field goal attempts.
The Seahawks have this really frustrating thing for a kicker where anytime they're on the other side of the field in opponent's territory, they score touchdowns, which is kind of a fun thing as a fan. But as a kicker, your opportunity isn't as great, I guess. But at the same time, you're not in a position to screw up.
Exactly. Just take care of the extra points, man, and you're good. Yeah.
Like, what's his name? Butker last week. Butker had to kick 4 58-yard field goals in a game.
And he hit them all, right?
Yeah, only 2 counted, but he did hit all 4 out of 4.
He stepped up, man. Kickers are huge.
There's a lot of shit to happen this week.
A lot of shit.
Let's we're going to get to the announcers, the broadcasters, because, man, I know I sound like a broken record every week I talk about this, but every week it's equally as bad. Can someone give us Tony Romo for a game? We were even classified as America's Game of the Week this week because apparently Dallas gets that title every fucking week. And we get Troy Aikman and some guy who's never played football before.
Dude, Troy Aikman's a quarterback. I don't understand why he doesn't go into depth or break plays down more, right? They just keep
He's
it
so surface.
Yeah.
And it's like politically correct for him.
He just wants to be safe and just have that job forever. He's not taking, he's not going out of his way to say something, he's just playing it really safe.
Man, it's frustrating listening to those guys. I'm trying to think of specific examples, and because we're doing this a couple days after, nothing really is coming to mind immediately, but I'm sure I'll think of something. But he's just like, Romo is so good because he predicts things, and when things happen, he's not afraid to call someone out.
He has that I don't give a fuck attitude a little bit.
Yeah.
And it's so refreshing.
It's so good. It's so good to listen to. We'll come back to them. Let's talk about, so let's say, in my opinion, Russell Wilson had his worst game of the year. And he threw, it's so funny, man. Like, again, Aikman was on his ass the entire game. And I would appreciate if someone with Aikman's position who can alter people's opinions on national TV when millions of people are watching, I would appreciate if he puts things into context a little more.
Yeah.
So like the whole game he was saying, Russell Wilson's off today. He's not having a great game. Look at his stat line, bro.
I know, yeah.
Like 27 of 40, 315 yards, 5 touchdowns.
Why isn't he having a good game?
130 passer rating.
Sounds pretty decent.
I would agree that he did not have his best game of the year. And I think he's going to play much better than this moving forward. But put it into context for people. Be like, explain. Say, this is one of the absolute best players of his generation. He's having an off game and he still looks like a superstar. Don't leave it at, Russell Wilson's having an off game. Like, why not bring it back to the beginning of the game and say, in the first quarter, they had 5 drops, Karl.
Yeah.
And 4 of those 5 passes were right in receivers' hands. Oh, you know what else happened in the first quarter? DK Metcalf fumbled the ball on the 1-yard line. So it would have been like, 14-3 or something at that point. And I think, like, as a quarterback, when you see your receivers drop the ball 5 times in the first quarter and a half, I don't know exactly the time frame. Like, it has to be a little bit frustrating. It has to hurt you slightly mentally, right?
It's so disheartening. Like, you don't even want to throw it anymore.
Right? And then to add on top of it, a 68-yard touchdown pass that was caught, and DK fumbles the ball on the 1. Like,
DK, please.
Add that, right? So that's 6 passes that should have been completions. 1 should have easily been a touchdown. That, like, Aikman is just, again, surface level and just saying, Russell Wilson's off today. Like, why not provide a little bit of insider information and be like, hey, how long did he play in the NFL? 14 years?
Forever, yeah. He's just one of those guys.
Why not bring it back and be like, talk about the mental aspect of being a quarterback and being like, you kind of got to get through these drops mentally. It takes a while early in your career, it affects you quite a bit. You're trying to make a big contract next year, and like every single pass matters, right? Like if your receiver drops the ball in the 4th quarter, you lose a game. It looks bad on you, looks bad on your team. Maybe your contract next year is $12 million instead of $8 million, whatever. But like, provide some insight, man. I don't know. I get so frustrated with those guys.
But you can explain, like, just insight.
Explain.
Is he underthrowing the receivers? What is he doing to make him play bad? Right?
Yeah.
Just go into specifics so like the layman can understand.
That's my problem. Because I assume that guy has a fuck ton of football knowledge in his head, and every week is extremely disappointing.
Yeah, I agree.
So,
I agree.
Like, I agree with the content of what he's saying. It's just how it's being presented and how little backup info, data, or experience. Like, Romo's so good because he uses his past experience. Whereas, like, Aikman is just like, Russ is having a bad game today. That's it.
That's it.
Come on, man. Talk about, like, a bad game you had. and like what you said to your teammates at halftime to get through it, or to like play better in the second half, or, you know, whatever.
Or what he needs to change, what adjustments that you can make, anything.
Man. Whoever he works for, NBC, Fox, I'm not sure. Give me one shot. Give me one shot, guys. Give me a half. I played high school football, and I feel like I have so much more to say than that guy every Sunday.
Denny, your mic could be turned off 6 words in.
And you have to change your rules of your network that fuck is an allowable word. Okay, so I agree that Rest did not have his best game of the year. I think not even early in the game, but it seemed like after those 5 drops, and I don't know what it does to him mentally. I don't even know if he's aware that it does something, but it has to do something to him. So he's making good reads. He's hitting guys that are open and guys are dropping the ball. It has to do something to you mentally. But between like, let's say halfway through the first quarter into like the second half, he was mediocre. Like in terms of hitting guys in the hands, there were guys that were open and he didn't make exceptional throws. He threw it where they could catch the ball, but they were like diving to catch the ball, or, you know, it was like half a yard behind them and they're reaching behind, you know, there was a bunch of things. But shows how good this guy is, man. Still, off game, doesn't turn the ball over. Off game has 5 touchdowns, should have been 6. Off game has 300 yards.
It's pretty good.
Oh, and he set a record for the most touchdowns in the first 3 games at 14.
14 touchdowns.
How many games do we have left, Karl? We have, so right now he's averaging 14 divided by 3. He's averaging 4.666 touchdowns per game, and times 16. So he's on pace for 75 touchdowns this year.
He's almost at 80% completion too.
And what is the NFL record for touchdowns? 51? Something like that?
That's a good question.
Quarterback? I think it's something, I think it's just over 50. I think it's Peyton Manning.
Drew, is it for 1 year, right?
Most touchdowns thrown in a regular season.
Everyone's saying fucking all time. Yeah, would you say 51?
I think it's something around there.
Yeah.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Peyton Manning?
Peyton Manning.
I think it's when he had Marvin Harrison on his team, and it was like also in that year is the most touchdowns between quarterback and receiver in a year too.
That's crazy.
I think Marvin Harrison had like 30. I'm making that number up. Maybe that's really high. Maybe 25. Something crazy. Anyway, let's talk about DK. I like part of the one of the cool sides of sport, and maybe like every sport has differences, but maybe even more so in the NFL and football, is like the psychology of behind sport, like the ups and downs throughout a game, right? So like how shit is DK Metcalf feeling after that ball gets punched out for a touchback in the first quarter when it should have been a 68 or 69 yard touchdown?
So shit. He feels awful. It's just a little lapse, you know? It's a free touchdown and it's just a little lapse. The one thing I didn't notice is how were guys reacting to him on the bench? Did you notice that?
So they didn't show much, and that's the really cool thing that I like seeing. And one thing I said as it happened is, like, sure, Russ is going to be annoyed, especially with the drops in the first quarter. He's going to be annoyed that happened, but I bet it's hard to tell the future, but I bet this is like a really good thing for DK Metcalf in the next like few years. I bet this is something he like will use as an athlete, as a business person, like in your career, in your personal life. I feel like the people that succeed, that excel, that are really, really good at whatever they're doing are the ones that hold on to the little adversities, the little like fuck ups, whatever it is, and use those to like
improve,
never make that mistake again, kind of thing.
Because the opposite of that is people that just keep making the same mistakes and then just end up in the same spot.
Never progress.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah. And I think like I saw some things on social media in the last couple of days just commenting on what happened and what people said to him. And I think Pete Carroll got asked about it, and he's like, I didn't need to say anything to DK. He's never going to make that mistake again.
That's huge. Yeah. That's huge. Yeah. That was the thing I was asking, right? Are guys getting in his face, kind of complaining or walking away from him?
Yeah.
Or they, give him high fives and just worry about the next play?
And then Russ had something that was quoted too on social media, and it said, I went up to him. I said, he said something like, "It's all good, man. I'm coming back to you, but don't ever do that again."
I like that.
Yeah.
I got to say one thing. We were talking about Peyton Manning. It was 55 touchdowns, and it was in 2013. So he was already 55. In Denver. He was in Denver already.
So he must have broke his own record, because for some reason I thought he was 51.
It was his own record.
Okay. He had 55.
55.
Wow.
He had 7 against Baltimore, which is the record.
Just a fun fact based on 2013. That was the year that the Seahawks beat the Broncos in the Super Bowl.
Was it?
Yeah. Oh. But I agree, because I thought DK was really good after that.
Yeah.
He one little mental mistake, and I'm not really sure what. He must have just thought he blew past the defender, and the defender was 2 yards behind him, kind of thing.
I think he kind of looked back and just didn't see him. He was over his other shoulder.
Yeah.
I think that's what it was.
Yeah.
You know who else is surprising me? Lockett. Lockett's figuring it out, and he's getting open. Do you think that's more play calling, or do you think it's more opportunities by the defense? Because a lot of times he's wide open.
This is Lockett, though. I'm not surprised. Lockett is a guy that gets 8 to 10 receptions a game, and a lot of them are for 8 yards.
Because he's a slot receiver, right? So
he's just short. He's very quick. He's a good route runner, and has great hands. So on those little slant patterns or quick ins or outs or whatever, he's awesome on 3rd and 4.
Yes,
because he has great hands and he makes catches, and he gets separation. So he's an easy target for Wilson. I think it's more him than what defenses are giving him.
He had 9 receptions.
That's a normal day for Tyler Lockett. There's a few games last year where he had 12, 14 receptions.
Damn.
I know. And I think it has something to do, if it's Lockett by himself on our team, and we don't have a DK Metcalf, we don't have Greg Olsen, we don't have Chris Carson as a huge threat out of the backfield on pass plays, I think defenses play Tyler Lockett differently.
Yeah.
But they can't double coverage him because
you have a long threat. DK.
Well, he's so versatile too.
Yeah.
He scored the first touchdown that was over the top. It was 40 something yards or something. He had 3 touchdowns in the first quarter.
That's crazy.
His first, I think they said first receiver to do that since Galloway.
Wow.
In the 80s or something.
Jeez. Hopefully you can keep it up. Stay healthy, knock on wood. Greg Olsen also, 6 targets, 5 receptions. Consistent.
He had a better game than the last game.
Yeah.
Didn't play good last game.
No silly interception.
So offense, I don't think there's anything to complain about. So I'm hesitant to say this, but it's my honest opinion. So I'm going to say it anyway, Karl. Russell Wilson had a quote in social media after the game. He said, Schottenheimer, the offensive coordinator, Schotty's on fire this year. And I think a few things about this. I think Russell Wilson is, one, excited that he's actually allowed to play football this year. It must be an exciting feeling for a player. 2, I think he has to say that. But my honest opinion is there's still a lot of plays that don't make sense. So 1st and 10, why are we running toss plays? I haven't seen one toss play this season, and we've run maybe 6 or 8 of them. Go for positive yardage. That's not the strength of our team. Right? Chris Carson or whoever, I think they ran a couple to Hollister. That's not... No, Homer, sorry. To Homer. why are we running toss plays to make no sense to me. We are not a outside running football team.
Yeah.
We run the ball down the middle, and we have the best player in the NFL to make plays. And I think on first downs, we need to run play action and put the ball in Russell Wilson's hands. And on like 2nd and 6s and occasionally on first down, we need to run the football.
Last week we had 40 pass attempts and 26 rushes. How do you feel about that breakdown?
I think that's the way we win football games.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So let Russ go, do his thing, and then rely on the running if that slows down or whatever?
I think if we win a Super Bowl, we're averaging 35 to 40 passes a game and 20 to 25 rushes a game.
Only 20-25, eh? So big change from last year.
I think that's the way we're going to win football games. I think we have too many weapons, and we have the best player in the league, and you have to put the football in his hands. If we had a mediocre quarterback,
different story.
Then run the ball all the time. But like the offensive line is probably one of the biggest surprises so far for me is that I feel like they are decent. I thought they were going to be bottom 5 in the league again, like last year. And I'd say they're middle of the pack. I don't have any stats on that. I just, from watching the games and seeing the improvement on time in the pocket that Russell Wilson has had from last year, I like it. And it's exciting.
I would say even this year, week to week, is getting better every week.
Yeah, I'd agree. The thing that is not getting better week to week is the other side of the ball, is the defense. And it's not terrible. Like, honestly, have we had a 100-yard rusher against us in 3 games? I don't think so.
Rushing, no.
Definitely not week 1. Week 2, Dak, I think, had 60 yards. Sorry, not Dak. Ezekiel Elliott. Ezekiel Elliott had 34 yards.
Yeah.
Dak had 26. We gave up 61 yards. We got to be one of the best rushing defenses in the league right now. If you look at yards per game.
Yeah, I think so too.
So it's a bit confusing, to be totally honest, because I think our linebacker core is quite good. Bobby Wagner's a stud. Jordan Brooks played his first game and got twisted his knee early and didn't play much of the game. But KJ Wright, I think, played pretty good this week. It's a bit confusing knowing how bad our pass rush is, but why are we so good stopping the run? It's the same guys. It's the same thing that is good pass rushing versus good stopping the run, which is penetration off the line.
Right.
If those front four guys can penetrate 50% of the time, you're going to win the football game.
If they can win their one-on-ones, right?
Exactly.
No matter what. Yeah. No.
But why are they so good at stopping the run versus each game we've given up 400 yards?
Quarterbacks are just going off on us. It's just all throwing. Even this week, Dak had 472 yards, right? First week, Matt Ryan had over 400 also, right?
And last week was 380 or something.
So why is that happening? Do you think we're just giving up in matchups in the secondary, trying to rush or blitz, just helping the line too much?
So,
because ideally Seattle wants to play a coverage 3 mostly, right? And I've heard that they're blitzing so much with their safeties. There's too many one-on-ones with DBs right now, and that's where they're kind of getting killed.
They play a lot of zone, which means zone coverage gets eaten alive if you do not have pressure on the quarterback.
So they can't sit in it.
So we play a lot of zone, and we don't get pressure on the quarterback, which means a lot of completions.
Right.
Right? So when you look at Dak this week, he was 37 for 57. So he threw the ball almost 60 times, which is probably for the rest of the year, no one's going to throw the ball that many times against us. But I think it also comes down to that we are so good offensively right now that we're up in games early most of the time. And it's going to be for the rest of the season.
Because teams are just airing it out, trying to keep up with us.
They have to.
Yeah.
They have to. So I and you look at, there was a stat that they threw up on the TV this week. Games that the Seahawks allow over 400 yards for the opposing quarterback throwing, they're like 11-0.
Weird.
Which is hilarious.
Weird.
Right?
Yeah.
So like in games that someone's throwing for 400 yards, obviously you're up early. So people are throwing the ball a lot or throwing the entire game. I don't know. It's a funny stat though.
Yeah. That's crazy. I found it.
Is that what it is? 10 or 11-0?
It says they're undefeated when an opposing quarterback is 400 plus yards.
Yeah. And I think this is like in the Pete Carroll era or something like that. Or maybe in the Russell Wilson era.
Pete Carroll.
Okay.
Under Carroll, I should say, yeah.
It's a weird stat.
That's a very, very weird stat.
Yeah. But I don't think it's going to stop. So when you look at our DBs, I think I overestimated them coming into the year. I think Jamal Adams is the best safety in the league. I think Quandre Diggs is a decent second safety. He's not a Pro Bowl caliber guy that I've seen yet this year. And then I think Shaq has a lot of work to do. And Flowers is a liability.
Flowers is a liability, and Shaq just needs to be more consistent. Like he had that interception right before halftime. That was fantastic. But
I think he's really aggressive. And I think he makes mistakes being aggressive.
I agree. Because a few times, a couple times, like the receiver's wide open.
Yeah.
And it's usually him making a play on something else, right?
Just he's guessing or he's trying to anticipate things and they don't happen. Or he like breaks on someone's cut, on a receiver's cut, and then he's like the receiver's open by 6 yards.
So just consistency for him, eh?
He got better as the year went on last year, so I'm kind of hoping that happens again this year. And we lost, like Jamal Adams didn't play the second half. It was really cool. Did you watch the game like closely? It was really cool to see how good of a leader he was.
Dude,
I don't know if you noticed.
He's so much fun. Just like on defense, I'm pretty much just watching him all the time.
Yeah.
His energy, just his impact on like guys around him too. It looks like so much fun to play with Jamal Adams.
Yeah. He was so good on the sideline. Like he was running up and down the sideline, and Pete Carroll a couple times had to like push him back because like I guess only the head coach is supposed to be on the actual line.
That's freaking amazing.
It was so cool.
It's so good too with like no fans, right? I mean, you got to come up with your energy from somewhere.
Yeah.
And I think he's the guy for that.
He's huge.
He got injured, eh? What's the story with him?
I don't think it's very serious. I think he'll probably be back next week. If he's on the fence, I wouldn't be surprised if they just sit him just to get healthy because they play Miami next week.
He's not even on the week 3 injury report.
He pulled his groin. So early in the third quarter, he came on a blitz and you could see him like kind of stall up, rushing after the quarterback, and he pulled his groin. And then he didn't play afterwards, so it must have been bad enough to at least sit. But I think he'll be fine. I think he'll be back. I think he could play next week if we have a big game, but we're playing Miami, so I don't think I wouldn't be surprised if they just sit him or test him for the first quarter, and if he's feeling any pain, just take him out.
Would you say the same thing with Chris Carson?
Yeah, so that was a funny one to me. I feel like I should get a little bit worked up about it, but I'm going to try to be politically correct here. That kind of shit really annoys me. Like, that guy was obviously trying to hurt him versus I bring it back to like last week and the Diggs hit. Like, Diggs is not trying to hurt him. Diggs is trying to cause a incompletion, which is his job, which is what people pay him millions of dollars a year for. That guy on the defensive line was like strictly trying to hurt Chris Carson, and Diggs gets thrown out of a game.
Yeah.
And that guy is like questionably going to get a fine. Like, why isn't New York reviewing that?
Pete Carroll had a few things to say
about that.
Yeah.
Okay, you tell me while I get up here. Do you want one?
No, I'm okay, thanks. Well, he was just saying that he was just unhappy with the hit because Tristan Hill, he hung on his leg. He just hung on way too long. And he kind of rode him out of bounds, and he just kind of rolled over him. But it looked intentional.
Oh, it was 100% intentional. So,
Carroll
like, what happened is like it was a run down the middle. this Hill guy tackled him by his legs and rolled with his leg while Carson was underneath him. So, like, it was clearly him trying to hurt Carson. Had nothing to do with the tackle. Yeah. He was clearly on the ground. The guy was on top of him and then rolled over with his leg. Like,
did the NFL say anything about that?
They're talking about fining him.
Yeah.
But, like, why is that head-to-head thing that is, in my opinion, really, really, really hard to avoid in some situations when receivers lean over to make catches? Why is that immediately kicked out of games and this stuff is not? When it's very obvious that they're trying to, like, this is trying to. Bobby Wagner had a pretty aggressive comment about it today.
What did he say?
He's just like, I'm all for the heat of competition, like, play hard between the whistles, but like that shit has no business being in the game.
The in between the whistles is the big part. But yeah, like, I mean, Flowers was just trying to make a play, or Diggs was just trying to make a play, and this guy intentionally looked like he was trying to hurt him. There's a difference, right?
Like, there's a possibility that Carson tears a ligament because of that, and he's out for the year, potentially career ending, right? Changes
the whole dynamic of the team, yeah.
And that, like, why isn't New York looking at that?
I don't know, Danny. Just another issue.
I'd like some answers, Karl.
With the L.
I would really like some answers.
I'll go write up some emails after.
Who do you think we should talk to?
Oh, man. Generic white guy 3? I have no idea.
Oh, man. Moral of the story, we're 3-0.
3-0.
We, one of 4 teams, I think they're 3-0.
Is it? Who's left?
The Chiefs. The Bills.
What a season the Bills are having.
And the Seahawks, I believe. It's just 4.
Man, Josh Allen killed me in fantasy this week. Yeah, that's crazy.
I want to get your opinion on them in a second. It's funny to look at power rankings and just see the complete diversity of where teams are ranked.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're really just one person's opinion.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like, it has to be based on something. But, like, everyone has the Chiefs number 1 right now, which is what it is. They're defending Super Bowl champs. They look really good last night. They should definitely be top 2. A lot of people still have the Ravens number 2, which makes no sense to me.
Why? Because they lose to number 1 team, so they don't go down as much? I don't know.
They scored. They looked suspect yesterday.
They looked suspect.
Other than the kickoff return.
Yeah.
They should have lost the game by like 3 scores.
They had like no receiving. No one was showing up.
Lamar looked... So, like, anyone that's been listening to this podcast knows that I think Lamar is a great athlete. I do not think he's an elite quarterback in the NFL yet. He has the potential. He could get a lot better. He could get... I don't think he necessarily understands the game that good yet, which is pretty common for, how old is he? 24. Like, he's so young.
Yeah.
He's just a freak athlete, and it makes up for maybe lack of football knowledge.
Do you think teams are kind of, like, defenses are kind of starting to target him more and kind of figuring out his play? Or do you think he's just such a freak athlete, there's only so much you can prepare for? He's going to get his.
I don't think at this stage in his career he's going to win big games.
No.
I don't think he's good enough.
No.
I think Mahomes is good enough. I think Russell Wilson is good enough. And I think Aaron Rodgers is good enough. I don't know enough about, what's your best friend's name on the Bills?
On the Josh Allen?
Yeah, I don't know enough about him. I can't ever say I sit down and watch a Bills game. Maybe next week I'll have to take him seriously and watch
Maybe, right? You never know.
Who do they play next week?
Also,
if it's a good game, I'll watch it.
Green Bay is 3-0 too.
That's right. Okay, so there's 5.
Tennessee is 3-0.
Tennessee?
There's 7. Oh, there's 6 teams, yeah. Tennessee's 3-0 too.
Oh, shit. I thought they lost one game.
Let's go.
Huh. I definitely thought they lost one. Okay, week 4. Who do the Bills play, ladies and gentlemen? The Bills play the Raiders. No, probably not going to watch that one. Week 5. Bills and Titans. Okay, that's a game
fantastic.
I will maybe tune into.
If the Titans have a team.
Yeah, that's true. But they could both be 4-0, so that might be a pretty good game.
I know the thing with the Bills is they were supposed to have a really good defense this year. The defense was supposed to lead the team. But now Josh Allen's stepping up and he's playing out of this world.
What's their D look like?
They're rolling. What do you mean by that?
Is their D still good?
Still good. Not as good as it should have been. Let's see here. But it's been such an offensive season so far, right? Scores are still so high. Quarterbacks are going off.
I think what me and you were talking about last week is super true. Is that on offense, athleticism and like playmakers overrule, whereas defense schemes and like playing as a unit rather than individuals is so much more important. And that's what they didn't get through the offseason.
100%.
Through preseason and even just shortened training camps.
Because that just takes snaps, right? There's no other way to prepare for other than snaps.
Totally.
That with no preseason, you're not getting those snaps.
Yeah.
So what, do you think as the season goes on, it's going to get better? Scores are going to start dropping? Defenses start picking up?
I wouldn't be surprised, to be honest. Yeah.
Okay.
I have a hard time looking at the Seahawks schedule for the next few weeks and seeing anyone that can stop them offensively. Like next week we play the Dolphins, then the Vikings, then we have a bye, then we play the Cardinals, which could be a good game, then the 49ers, then the Bills. Oh, that could be a really good one. So Sunday, November 8th.
After our bye, we have 3 good games.
I don't know if Minnesota is a good game.
Wasn't that before?
Oh, after the bye.
Yeah.
Yeah, week 6 is the bye. Then we play Arizona, San Fran, Buffalo, then LA.
Ooh.
I feel like the Seahawks have the hardest schedule in the league.
Yeah, that sounds pretty tough.
Other than Miami, like I guess Minnesota was supposed to be better, but they're 1-2, I think. Last year they were good. Last year Minnesota was 11-5 maybe.
Yeah. They just can't figure out their throwing game right now.
What's his name? Kirk Cousins. I don't think he's a recipe for success.
They lost their best receiver too. He went to the Bills. Stephon Diggs.
The Seahawks are trying to get him. The Seahawks are in conversation with him.
No, he's having himself a season right now.
He is?
Yeah. I think he has more receiving yards than the entire Vikings team.
Is Jared Allen young?
Josh Allen?
Josh Allen.
Yeah, he is. He's actually a newborn. No, I think he's like second year, third year. What is he?
Oh, he's
24.
He's 24?
24.
And he's balling, eh?
He's balling.
What's his stats look like?
Ooh. So I had it all here, but I have 37. Here we go. So right now, Josh Allen, if you go quarterback rankings, he's number 2 right behind Russell Wilson.
He's number 2, eh?
So if we go quarterback ratings, yeah, it goes Russell Wilson, Josh Allen, Aaron Rodgers, Jimmy Garoppolo, but doesn't count. And then Derek Carr.
Mahomes isn't even in the conversation.
Mahomes is next.
I love how you stopped there.
I think that week 2 game hurt him a little bit.
Right. They had a shit week 2.
Yeah.
It's weird. I don't know. Like, as a player, let's say everyone in the world right now, other than like that one hilarious power rankings that had the Seahawks at like 7 or 8, everyone agrees that the Seahawks are a top 3 team in the league today. How do you like mentally stay sharp for a game that you're going into Miami and playing like, you know, a bottom 10 team in the league?
Oh, I think guys like Jamal Adams, you're going to have to come up with energy from your own team.
Yeah.
Your own sidelines.
But what if he's not playing? What if they sit him because his like little injury?
It's going to be tough. Oh, even if he's sitting him, he's going to be loud.
Like I have no doubt that the offense is going to put up a lot of points.
Yeah.
It's more like, to me, it's more how does the defense get motivated to like try to hold them to 20 or you know, whatever.
That's a tough question, especially against Miami too, eh?
Do you think they like maybe try to think of this as a statement game, like being like, hey, we're not as bad as people think we are. We've played 3 pretty good offenses. Who did we play week 1?
Atlanta.
Played Atlanta. Matt Ryan's like a really good quarterback.
Yeah.
It's been really good for 10 years. We played Cam Newton and the Patriots, who are
He's having himself
I think are better than I thought they were going to be.
Yeah.
Like last week I said they're top 10 in the league. They're probably close to a top 5 team in the league.
Especially since Cam doesn't have any weapons really, eh? Yeah, I'm impressed with New England right now.
And then Dallas, who is like, well, some people thought would be an NFC contender, but now are 1-2. But like have so many weapons on offense.
So many.
Right?
Yeah.
Even their rookie receiver had like a huge game.
CD?
Yeah.
CD Lamb?
Lamb. 65 yards. It sounded like they said his name all the time.
They love
Amari
him.
Cooper had 9
They
receptions.
love him.
Man, look at their... Gallup had 138 yards. Cedric Wilson had 107. Amari Cooper had 86. Then Lamb had 65. Yeah, I don't know. I it seems like it must be fucking shit to be a Dallas Cowboys fan, but it seems like every year they underperform.
Every year.
Every year. Even when Romo was there, like, oh, high hopes this year. We got the best offense in the league. We're winning a Super Bowl. And then it's like 8-8. Like, what happened?
And it's so funny because Dallas is the biggest, like, hardcore fans ever.
Huge.
People just love Dallas.
And they're America's game of the week every week.
Every week.
Because 87% of America is a Dallas Cowboys fan.
Why is that?
I don't know.
The nation just picked a team.
I don't know.
And it's the opposite with Seattle. We just get ignored in the corner.
Aren't they the highest net worth sports franchise in the world?
The Seahawks?
No, the Cowboys.
Really?
I'm pretty sure they are. I'm pretty sure they're worth like 5.5 billion or something.
That's interesting. Yeah, they are.
They are, right?
Holy shit.
In the world.
In the world. So the list here, Dallas Cowboys, 5 billion. The Yankees, 4.6. Real Madrid, Barcelona, Manchester United.
I would have like, if I didn't, I knew that before, but if I didn't know that and you asked me that question, I would have said one of those soccer teams.
100%.
Real Madrid or Man U.
Yeah. Even Barcelona.
Yeah.
That's
the
crazy.
Yankees too is like, I didn't know that a baseball team would be that high.
And then after Manchester.
There's like the Knicks and right?
Lakers.
The Lakers and the Knicks are up there.
Boston.
Celtics? Boston. The Celtics are up there? Really? Huh.
People love the Celtics. They've always been around. It's
There's
just
a couple
sports
football
city.
teams that are big, I think.
Yeah, I was going to say New England Patriots right after
They're
Manchester.
next. Okay.
Isn't that fucking crazy?
Yeah.
Yeah, Madrid, Barcelona, we said that.
Honestly, I'm happy for your Patriot fans that your team is decent this year. I thought well, you know what? It's actually a kind of punch in Tom Brady's face because you can correct me if you think you are right, but I think that Tom Brady was interchangeable with other quarterbacks. I don't think he's the best ever. Sure, he won a lot of Super Bowls, but I think that has a lot to do with the man running the team in Bill Belichick. I think he's better than people think he is.
Let the hate flow through you, Denny.
Bring it.
How's Tampa Bay doing?
Who gives a fuck?
What about your second favorite player, Gronkowski?
Nope, definitely not. I'd say my second favorite player outside of Seahawks players is probably Aaron Rodgers, and I'm pumped that they're good. I have a friend that Alex Neerman is a big Packers fan, and so I texted him this weekend after we both won on Sunday night. They had a really good Sunday night game against the Saints, saying, "Hey, me and you, NFC Championship, let's watch it together." And he's like, "I'll get back to you," because he doesn't want to put his team there already. But I'm pumped. I think healthy, those are the two best teams in the NFC.
I agree. Man, Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers is a stud, man. He's so fun to watch.
Didn't they draft that quarterback or something?
Yeah.
Do you think that lit a fire under his ass a little bit?
I don't think a guy like him cares, man.
The thing is, like, he's missing his number one wide receiver too. Devontae Adams is injured.
Is he?
Yeah, and he's still killing it.
I don't think, like, does LeBron give a fuck if they draft a small forward or a shooting guard? He doesn't care.
LeBron has so many plugs around him, and he's going to win a championship this year.
Yeah. I don't watch NBA at all, so you can comment more on that than me. I think like Aaron Rodgers, you can tell in interviews and just the way he carries himself on the field. He has quite a bit of confidence.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Borderline arrogance. So I don't think, like, I know the media made a big deal about that, being like, oh, Aaron Rodgers has something to prove. He's been one of the best 3 quarterbacks in the league for 12 years.
NFL champion, yeah. He's done it all, man.
He doesn't give a shit who they draft. I don't think he cares.
So you think they're just having a good season, the whole team?
I think he's a top 3 quarterback in the league.
Yeah.
I think regardless of whether they drafted him or a kicker first, it doesn't matter. He's going to be a top 3 quarterback in the league. I think he's a stud, man. I think he's as good as like, Tom Brady was in his peak, and as good as like, maybe not as like scientific as Peyton Manning, but physically gifted, better than Peyton Manning.
Man, I thought Aaron Rodgers was older. Do you know how old he is?
33.
No.
34.
36.
Yeah.
I thought he was like closer to 40s.
He's played in the league for like...
He's been around forever.
Because he was a backup for Brett Favre for a couple of years.
That's what it was. Right. A
Couple of years. Which good guy to learn from. But like, that's kind of what I think as an Aaron Rodgers. I think they're drafting someone to relieve me when I'm done. I'm 36 years old. I'm only going to... I only probably want to play for another 3 years.
Yeah.
I don't want to play when I'm 42 and look like a fucking idiot like Tom Brady every week.
I love he said 42 and now 41 like Drew Brees.
He's a geriatric. Like, he can't move, man. Why is he still in the football game?
He's got heavy ass feet, man.
Put someone else in. He's not good. That makes no sense. Like, I think, and I know this is not the way the world works, but I think in sports, the best player should play. I don't care if you're Chinese or black or white or Latino. I don't give a shit. I think the best player should play. I don't care if your name is Tom Brady. I don't care if your name is Michael Jordan. If someone is better than you, they should play ahead of you. Like Michael Jordan coming back when he was like 47 years old to the Washington Wizards. Why would you do that? Yeah. It's dumb. It's a publicity stunt. Like, he's not better than the guys playing. The guys playing that are 22 years old are better than him now.
Oh yeah, I agree.
Same for Tom Brady. He was good 7 years ago. He's not good anymore.
And at a certain point, it hurts your team, right? Because you're paying these guys all this money and they're just not performing to what they're supposed to be.
100%.
You're not getting.
It was a publicity stunt.
Yeah,
I think. He went to Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay is Miami? No, what? Florida. Sorry, Florida. No income tax? Or like super low income tax, right? No, none.
I don't think Florida has an income tax.
Fuck. So yeah, retire there. Then your NFL pension goes through there, right?
That's insane. Like,
so then you have no income tax on your pension?
Yeah, I think
because the NFL, I think it's like if you play 3 years, you get some sort of pension afterwards, right? I think it's something like that. I don't know the exact terms, but and then it probably goes through Florida, and then he has zero income tax on his pension.
And compare someone playing for the Jets or someone in New York where it's like 50%. Half your paycheck is gone. That's crazy. What a difference, eh?
More than half. More than half, because you're paying your agent 10%. Right. You're paying NFL PA fees that are probably like 10%. So you're probably only taking home, remember I had this conversation with Kyle Turris. I think he said you're taking home like 35% of your actual salary. After like everything. After taxes, agent fees, NHL PA. It's crazy.
Florida, you're taking home 70 or what?
I guess, yeah. You still pay your agent. You still pay like NFL PA. I don't know what other. I'm sure he has like a manager and like a what do you call them? Publicists. Yeah. But so, like a guy like that doesn't give a shit because like how much money does he make in endorsements every year?
Oh my god, probably more.
Let's say he makes $20 million in football a year. I don't know what's his whatever his salary is, but endorsements he's probably making double that.
Double easily. So what, you think it's just a gimmick year? He's just in for 1 year and he's just going to bounce, retire?
I wouldn't be surprised. He's, 47?
43.
He's 47.
He's his 50th birthday next week.